In today's video, I'm going to break down a controversial niche that makes a ton of money on Etsy. Let's see why some sellers are willing to risk it all for a quick payday and get some great tips along the way.
But first, I'm Jess at Insights by Jess. I dig deep into what makes Etsy stores successful and where they can improve so that you get the full 411 on what's really selling and why. Let's jump in. This is a pretty controversial niche, and it is actually something you're going to see quite a lot on Etsy. So I really felt like I needed to include this in one of my store reviews and go over some of the pros and cons and really show you why this is so common and what ultimately can happen to you if you choose to go into this particular niche or niche. So let me preface this by saying I do not condone or recommend selling things in this niche, and doing so can be really, really risky to you. In fact, when I first started researching for these reviews, the store I had picked to showcase this niche was a really successful store, and it was called Beauty Seeds Print. But before I could start filming this video, the store was actually out of business. Somebody has shut them down, and you can see here that the link I saved for Beauty Seeds Prints is no longer valid. They simply do not exist, and that is the biggest downfall to selling in this particular niche, is that you can get shut down with no warning because what you are doing is not necessarily allowed. It's not allowed. I'm just going to say, I'm not going to be sugarcoating this. This is not allowed. Do this at your own risk. This is a risky business here. But it makes really, really good money, and that's why it is so common on Etsy. So before I show you what this niche is, let me go ahead and give my typical disclaimer that I am not affiliated with Etsy. I'm not affiliated with this store. I'm not endorsing these products, and I am certainly not endorsing this niche, but I did want to include it so you could see what is going on with this, why you're probably seeing it so often in search results, and what ultimately can happen to you when you choose to get into a niche like this. So this particular store that I'm doing this review on, this is my second review here, and I'm glad to see that they're still open for me to make this video, but this store is called Magic Life Designs, and if you didn't guess by the little logo here, you can probably see that they sell a lot of Mickey or branded merch. This is military. They've thrown up a lot of holiday listings here, but if we scroll past that, we're going to see here's that dabbing Mickey. That is one of their best sellers, and we are going to look at that in a minute. Here's a Harry Potter Christmas shirt. It's got the Harry Potter font and feather and all that. This is Star Wars. This one is just blatant copyright infringement. You cannot just have pictures of Disney characters on your shirt. And in fact, that is what likely got this store shut down. They did not just have Disney, they also had Nickelodeon, and I don't even remember what other ones they had. But it's only a matter of time before these major companies or these major brands run a search in Etsy or Amazon or wherever. They have probably a whole rotation. They will run a search, your results will pop up, and they will slap you with copyright infringement. And in some cases, your entire store could be taken down. So even though the seller also has some cute little I run on coffee, blah, blah, blah shirts, they don't care. You are breaking rules. They will pull down your entire store. So that is a huge disclaimer for selling in this type of niche. That being said, this is a really popular store. So let's take a second really quickly and dig into their store stats. Okay, so this store has sold almost 22,000 things. They have just shy of 22,000 here. By looking at their oldest reviews, we can see that they started their store only in May of 2020. So I'm going to go down here and take a peek. We can see things popping up from May of 2020. So with an average product price of about $15, this store is making about $135,000 a year. And that's pretty conservative because that does not account for the time it took them to actually build these listings and build these sales. So that's just evenly split among the time that they've been open. And it probably caught your attention that I said that their average sale price was $15, because you're looking here and these probably all say $9.91 or just under $10. And we're going to talk more about that in just a second, because that is a really important pricing strategy. But before we dig too much into the strategy of it all, let's just take a look at their shop overall. So this store has pretty clear branding. Their logo is a little tricky to read. It's kind of complicated. And this branding header is, honestly, it kind of hurts the eyes a little bit. It's not very clear. This text here is kind of hard to read. And since this is a design-based store, this is a print-on-demand store. So they have to have good grasp of design knowledge or decent design-making skills in order to provide good quality products. So seeing this store header kind of blurry and hard to read doesn't give me great confidence in the branding skills. So tip number 1 is definitely take the time and energy to build a beautiful store header. It is worth it. It does help set the vibe and the tone for your buyers. That being said, we're going to keep scrolling down here and see that they have a pretty good look to their storefront here. All of their templates are pretty uniform. It's easy to see the shirts. It's easy to see the designs on the shirts. They're using about the same mock-ups for most of these designs, which gives it a nice, clean, uniform look. They do have everything on sale here, which is always a strategy that I recommend. I love telling people, take advantage of the sales and discounts. It does benefit you, especially in the search results, and it helps put that little bit of pressure on buyers because they want to get it at that cheaper price. And that is going to bring us further into that pricing strategy that I mentioned before, because these say $10, but I estimated their average price at $15. So let's take a look at their bestseller and kind of see why that is. If we look here, we can see that there's a lot of options for this style and size. If we kind of scroll down here, we can see that a lot of these are 15, 16 really, 17, 19, 21. This right here, this youth small, is where it's $10. And then when you go here and check out the colors, there is really only one color that is truly $10. Now when you click that, and this is a $10 shirt with this size and color, you can kind of scroll down and see it's free shipping. So this particular shirt is $10. But let's say you're not a youth small, you're going to be paying $15. You're going to be paying, maybe $20 for a different size. That is a pretty common tactic you're going to see in print-on-demand stores. A lot, if not all, print-on-demand stores that have done a fair amount of competitor research, any successfully selling print-on-demand store will have done some competitor research and noticed that this pricing strategy is being used by most of them. So what this means is you can go ahead and price a cheaper item here. And if you have a lot of variations, you can make just one of these variations cheaper and all the rest of them the price that you want. And you are taking that risk that you might lose some money if they do buy that cheaper variation, but most of the time that risk is going to pay off. And it can turn some buyers off when they go to buy a $10 shirt and they actually pick their items and see, oh, well, it's actually $18. That's almost twice the price. But surprisingly, when they go back and look at other sellers, they're going to see that other sellers are doing the same thing, and that the average price for a t-shirt on Etsy is between $15 and $20. So they're ultimately going to choose the shirt that they liked best or the design that they liked best. And in a niche like print on demand, It is really important to put energy and effort behind your designs, because ultimately it's that design that is going to encourage your buyers to actually purchase from you. That being said, let's take a look at what else the store is doing, because they're obviously doing something right? They're a bestseller. If we take this title, we can see there's a lot of the use of the word Mickey. There's a lot of Disney World, Disneyland, Disney, Disney, Disney. If we go down to their description, we can see they've copied their title right back in here. And then it jumps into long sleeve shirts. Our t-shirt is quality. This is really confusing because they're not selling a long sleeve shirt. So they've probably copy and pasted this listing from somewhere else, from a different listing perhaps, and it doesn't make any sense. So I'm instantly confused. I think that there's definitely some opportunity here to reword or to update these listings. I do want to point out that they have this lovely little disclaimer here that they are not responsible for trademark violations. Writing this in your listing description does not save you. First of all, you are not putting responsibility on the buyer for purchasing this shirt. You as the seller are responsible for creating designs that do not infringe on anyone else's artwork. So that disclaimer is basically worthless. Let's take a look at their tags. So they have some good tags down here. Again, they're using the word Mickey, Disney World, Disneyland. There are the same tags kind of right here. But based on the way that they have structured their description and the way that their title is basically the same thing over and over again: Disneyland shirt, Disney World shirt, Disney rock and roll shirt, funny Disney shirt. It's very, very repetitive. So that's kind of what they're going for. They are really going for that word. They're really trying to capitalize on Disney, Disney, Disney. So really, there's a little bit of room for some updated SEO, a little bit of room for better competitor research. But honestly, this is the type of niche that if you are willing to throw caution to the wind and do it anyways, I guess, it is something that you really have to be aware of. It's temporary. This is not a long-term business. This is not a store that will be open in 10 years. It's just not. I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm not trying to put them down, and I wish them all the best of successes. I truly, truly do. But if they want longevity for their business, they are going to have to transition to non-branded designs. So if they go for shirts like this Nana shirt, for example, that's perfect. You, David, is perfect. There's nothing copyrighted about that design. They offer a custom photo shirt, which is a cute little idea. There's definitely like this I run on coffee and Christmas and cheer. They have designs here that are fantastic and could definitely be used as a jumping off point for growing a successful store. They really do need to get away from designs like this, however, and start focusing more on designs that utilize their own skills, their own talents, and their own likes and dislikes. And really, that is the key to building a successful long-term print-on-demand store. You need to have your own unique designs. And if you do that, you can do really, really well. In fact, now that you've seen this store and you've seen great examples of what not to do, you should watch this next video, which is a store that brings in over $1 million a year on their t-shirt business. And they've only been open not even a year yet. You can watch that video here.